All right. Uh, don't look at the chat. Most people know when they think of like Cloud in a fighting game, they think of Smash Bros.
Oh no.
But I played a different fighting game with Cloud in it. Do you guys know what game that is?
Oh, are you doing the PS1 game?
I am.
Oh Lord.
It's the game I don't know how to pronounce, but it's like
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. I can say it. I need to see it again though. What's the fuck? Forgot the name already. What is it, Spencer? Tell me.
it's Ehrgeiz.
I I
Ehrgeiz.
I think it's Ehrgeiz.
Ehrgeiz.
I think Ehrgeiz is the correct the correct pronunciation.
And then in Japanese, it's Gaitsu, and then it means ambition. And the full title is Ehrgeiz, God Bless the Ring. It's a 3D fighting game developed by Dream Factory and published by Namco in 1998 for the arcade platform. It's mostly. I'm trying to struggle to say this. It's like a 3D fighting game, but the levels are a little bit more dynamic than just like a traditional ring. It's like in environments where there's jumping involved. So there's like a tiny bit of platforming, almost like if Smash Bros was 3D. Like it's just got that little like touch of like platforming inside of a fighting game. Although there isn't, it's not ring out, it's just traditional health. It's very PS1. I can tell you that. It's maybe the most PS1 game I've ever played. And it's, for the most part, it's kind of like the characters are a little bit boring and perhaps ideas are taken from other groups or other games, but there are a couple interesting ideas. There's a police officer that uses a yo-yo. Weird. I don't know how that got allowed on the force, but there she is. But most notably, what I think most people think about with this game is the inclusion of some Squaresoft characters that were popular. And remember, this game came out in 1998 in Japan, so not a lot of things that they could use from Squaresoft. So you guessed it, they used Final Fantasy VII, which is cool in my book. It's most famous for Cloud. I played through the whole arcade game using Tifa, because Tifa is also a playable character. And they use her pose, her victory pose from Final Fantasy VII, which is always exciting. But it's an interesting game in history, too, because I'm going to read this about the development. The game was directed and designed by Virtua Fighter and Tekken designer Saichi Ishii. The game's characters, both the original ones and those from Final Fantasy VII, were designed by Tetsuya Nomura, who is a big character designer. Went on to do that's Kingdom Hearts, right?
That's the Kingdom Hearts guy.
Ehrgeiz was announced as the first project to result from a licensing agreement allowing Square to develop games for Namco's Namco System 12 arcade board, and was exhibited at Namco's booth at the February 1998 AOU show. So kind of neat that it's like a collaboration between companies pretty early, and in a time when you could argue that competition was probably at its peak between gaming companies. So really cool to see that. The characters that were added to the PlayStation version, or well, the characters that are in it are from Final Fantasy VII are Cloud, Strife, Tifa Lockhart, Sephiroth in the PlayStation version. Vincent Valentine is a hidden character. Yuffie is a hidden character, and Zack is a hidden character. But basically, the main cast of Final Fantasy VII is in it, so which is really neat.
And Zack, I guess.
Well, I mean, no spoilers on 7, but you know, there could be some arguments there. There's a whole bunch of other characters I don't give a shit about, but that's kind of the appeal to it to me. What's interesting too is that there's other modes added to it. So the PlayStation version has a quest mode where you could, it's like a dungeon crawler, like an action dungeon crawler. And I think the game actually looks better in this format because it's in 3D already, and it has sort of a diorama style visual component to it. So it's actually like lends itself really well to the concept of a dungeon crawler. I tried to play. I didn't want to put too much emphasis on it since we're talking about fighting games, but I did touch the dungeon crawler, and it seemed really hard. I think I was missing something because I died like literally in the first area with enemies in it. So I'm not sure what was going on there. I probably had to get equipment or something that would make me stronger. So whatever. But I didn't want to play too much into that. There's a couple other things I didn't touch. Again, I was trying to focus exclusively on the arcade version. Um, Also, when you beat it, it's weird. It puts you in a boss fight, but then the credits start rolling. So there's no health, except that I get there is health, but you just can't see it. And my character got freaking destroyed, but I had to watch the rest of the credits anyway. So that's Ehrgeiz. I don't have a ton to say about it. It plays, I guess, like a traditional fighting game, just with some platformy elements to it. And I will say that the special attacks are way overpowered.
Yeah, this one's this one's rough, and it's notable because of the Final Fantasy VII characters, obviously, and like Nomura, and then also the same company, Dream Factory, went on to do The Bouncer, which is like a really early PS2 game that also was like headed partially by Nomura, and started Nomura's obsession with zippers on everything. Like those kind of designs. So it's like I kind of group these two games together. They're like both kind of weird little 3D fighting type games.
I could see that.
When you played, did you play quest mode primarily or a different mode?
No, just the arcade mode.
Oh, you just did arcade, but you did dabble in.
Yeah, I didn't want to focus
like
too much
see what
on
the dungeon crawling was like.
Yeah, I didn't want to play too much of that because we're talking about fighting games. But it's interesting that it had it.
When you did, so I mean, I don't want to harbor on or focus on quest mode too much, but does it select your character, or do you get to pick?
When I played it, it picked the character for me.
Oh, okay.
And it's not one of the Final Fantasy characters.
Damn, that's because obviously everyone's going to pick that.
Yeah.
When I was reading, it said that it was comparing it a lot to wrestling in terms of mechanics. Do you see that comparison?
Well, hard to say. No, personally. It was mostly kicks, punches, like a traditional fighter. But there could have been combos that I just didn't know. And I did see one character actually use a traditional wrestling. I think it was probably a German suplex, although I'm having trouble remembering exactly. But it was something to that extent. And I'd heard that there was a lot of wrestling in it, but when I played it, there was almost none. It was mostly kicks and punches. But I'm sure
these guys have weapons, right?
Yeah. People have a lot of weapons and like shooting guns at you and stuff, so it's a little hard. And Tifa shoots a fireball. I don't know. I mean, I guess you can get for that in the game, but I
was like, does she do that? Does she do a fireball? I don't remember doing a fireball.
I mean, with the materia, you can do anything, but I guess that was her materia at the day. So that would go for it. But I'm sure there are more like intricate combos that I just didn't do. But I beat the arcade mode without having to, so I don't know. Just never got to the point where I was doing a lot of hip tosses or choke slams or power bombs.
Which Final Fantasy VII character that didn't make it in should have made it in, and why is it Sid?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably like the only one. Sid and Kate Sith somehow got shafted.
Barrett got shafted.
Barrett. The Japanese have their anyway. I'm not going to touch on that.
Aerith got shafted. There's no Aerith. She got thrown flowers at you or something.
There was a thing that looked suspiciously like Red 13, but it wasn't him. But it looked quite a bit like him. So I almost think that he was included in it.
Wolf Girl Joe.
Sure.
So pick a cool character, I guess.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of fighting games primarily, right? So, like, how did you like this?
It was not very good. It's not very good. But I mean, I don't necessarily rate it higher or lower than any other fighting game I've played. So I just uneducated opinion. I just am not interested in the genre. maybe somebody with more experience in fighting games could tell me why it's worse or better. I'm sure the frames are off or something to that effect. I don't know. It's as clunky as any other fighting game I played.
There's like almost no reason for this to even ever return, even with the Final Fantasy stuff, because I mean, granted the last one they did was shit, but even with like they have like the Dissidia series after this too, where they did all the Final Fantasy 7 characters fighting. So it's like there's really no purpose to ever touch Ehrgeiz again.
Yeah, I would agree. Just because, like, I don't think those characters, aside from the Final Fantasy ones, ever amounted to anything. So it's like, if you just wanted to talk about Final Fantasy 7, people just play any of the other games that they're in that are probably a lot better. Yeah. And ironically, too, if you think about it, like, the quest mode in this game, you don't get to play as Final Fantasy characters, but they've released a quest mode called Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth and just the remakes. So you could just play that, and it's looks better, plays better. No, there's like literally, yeah, you're right. There's absolutely no point to playing this game in 2024.
Well, you found a reason. So if you're on a podcast and the month is fighting month and it's 2024, Ehrgeiz is for you. Right?
Yep. This is their genre.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see what the fellas in the chat and ladies and others have to say. So we got I Got Kings. Hello, everyone. Hey, Brian. BioPhoenix, we need a Waku Waku 8.
Sure.
Tylord, Ehrgeiz. I think he guessed it. BioPhoenix, Ehrgeiz, or Ehrgeiz. Tylord has a wrestler, right? Oh, maybe there's one in the cast, you know? Okay.
Tifa.
Yeah. Yeah. BioPhoenix. Ehrgeiz is all right. Still not on the same level as the Bouncer, though.
The Bouncer. The best thing about that game is the announcer that says the name of the game. He goes, "The Bouncer."
The Bouncer announcer. Easy D. Oh, the one with the FF7 characters in it. I guess that will always be this game's legacy, huh?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep.
And beyond that, it's the one with Cloud in it. It's just, oh, that's Cloud.
Yeah.
He's on the cover. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's him.
The quest mode in Ehrgeiz is kind of interesting. The yo-yo idea was probably taken from an old Japanese series called Sukeban Deka. Tylord, I wish Barrett was in it. Bio, one square fighter from that time is Tabal with art done by Akira Toriyama. He is the true Zipper Man. Tylord, you better pick a good one, Teddy. Hard to top those two. Oh, pressure's on. BioPhoenix, the Bouncer has way more wrestling in it. Terry, the Bouncer is way better. That's a no-brainer, though. Alex would agree, especially considering it's one of his all-time favorite games.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
Are we having Terry on for Junk Month? Because he really likes a lot of junk.
Terry, what's up, Terry? Terrible timber.
Terrible timber. Terrible.
Terrible timber. Yeah. BioPhoenix, true facts. Terry39, absolutely. I guess he is coming on. Tyler, Bouncer's not Clunk. Terry, and you get to do a bar fight with ninjas. What's not to love?
Well, we had an obscure Neo Geo game. We had an obscure Square Enix fighting game.
Squaresoft.
Teddy. Sorry, Square. Oh yeah, this isn't Enix yet, right? When did they become Enix? It was like 2001 or something.
Something around there.
I don't know. My brain's so used to saying Square Enix now. Square.
Hey y'all, don't forget to subscribe to them button mappers.